What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Bladen Kirk, joined as always by the two greatest co-hosts of all time, in Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. How are you guys today?
Hornets.
Matt, I know you're bad. You don't have to say anything. I know you're not doing okay, Matt.
I'm all right. I could be worse. The thing about me is like my teams lose, but I persevere. So, Theo, how are you?
I'm having a good day. Not much to report on my end.
Not much to report except Aaron Rodgers is a monster.
He is that, and Devontae Adams is that. And I can get into the Packers and how impressive they've been over this past 6-game winning streak. But the first thing I think we got to talk about is a different NFC North team playing the Rams today.
Oh, man. And we'll get into that for sure. But as always, make sure you guys like, subscribe, leave a review, comment, all the great things you've been doing to help grow this podcast on all platforms. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow @StayHotPod on TikTok for some great content there as well as we close in on 100,000 followers. We are still doing the Ed Sheeran hat giveaway, but apparently we made a mistake. You don't actually have to comment your handles or whatever. We can just see who subscribes. So, anyone that subscribes are going to be giving away Ed Sheeran hats. And then on Friday's episode, so our next episode, we're actually going to be doing a Halloween themed episode. So we need you guys to call in before then with things you were scared of for your favorite team, whether that be NFL or NBA. And we can, either affirm or, kind of relieve your fears. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Also, Matt, Theo, what are you guys dressing up as for the Halloween episode? Or are we going to leave that a surprise? Should we leave it a surprise?
I'll leave it as a surprise. They'll see during the Halloween episode.
I'm going to have to go get something. It's not going to be high quality
I just ordered mine tonight. I just ordered mine. So,
but we're getting into a little bit of everything today. I think we got
we have
full
a lot
slate
to talk about.
NBA, NFL, college football, right?
Full slate. The only 3 sports.
The only 3 sports.
Every once in a while, we get a Theo rant on some random sport.
The Braves. Hey, shout out the Braves. We never talk baseball, but it is the World Series. Yeah. Shout out to the Astros and the Braves. I think that Freddie Freeman is a good baseball player, and I think the Astros offense is really dominant. I think that everyone was kind of sleeping on them and being like, oh, after the cheating scandal, they won't be as good. But even without the garbage can banging, that offense is still high octane. And I would say I'm predicting an Astros World Series win. So there's a little bit of baseball. And I'll say Astros in 5.
I'm going to have to
Astros
go
in 5.
Braves in 7.
Whoa.
Because my grandpa cheers for them. Okay. My brother actually called this at the start of the playoffs. He said that all of our teams are going to win championships. So credit to him.
Yeah, I have no take on this. I don't think I could name a single player on either team. So
guess what the series will be.
We'll say Astros in 4.
Oh, wow. Sweet. Big Astros guy.
Big Astros guy.
You don't know ball. You don't know ball.
He does not know ball.
I have no idea what I'm talking about, man. But NFL today was filled with a ton of exciting games. One in particular, however, that has me worked up, and I think Theo worked up a little bit, is the Lions and Rams. And I've gone as far as to say that I think the Lions are going to be very, very good in a couple of years. Theo's still not quite a believer yet. Matt, I'm pretty sure, isn't a believer at all.
They have a bright future. Like, you look at the Lions and it's like, okay, I can see how this can work out for them. You can see the path, but that doesn't mean that they're going to take it. It's like, things look okay. They're winless and they don't have a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
But they have 2 first-round draft picks.
The hit rate on quarterbacks is pretty low when it comes to A, the Lions, and B, first-round picks in general.
That's fair. But what's a big reason for why the hit rate on first-round quarterbacks is so low? Because usually they go to horrible, a team with no offensive line, no weapons, no coach.
What team are we talking about here?
A team with an offensive line. weapons.
Yes.
And a coach.
No, what weapons?
They're hurt. Hey, wait till Tyrell Williams gets back. Wait till Tyrell Williams.
He's still in your fantasy. Tyrell Williams. Okay.
God bless Tyrell Williams, but
they
that's your number one weapon.
He's still in your fantasy points. He's scored 2 points all season. Anyway, today's Lions game was like, Bladen, you're a big Star Wars fan. You know the Ewok fight on Endor when the like little guys there's the evil empire. Today's Lions game was that version of like a football game. There was like log traps swinging around. There was like they're like throwing rocks. That was
they converted
like
an onside kick and a fake punt within the first 5 minutes.
2 fake punts, an onside kick, just like pulling out awesome. All the stops. They were like, here's what we need. We know we're not as good as this team, so we are just going to do whatever we can.
That's sick, and that's how you should play.
And it's sick, exactly. And that is how they should play. That is how they should play.
Someone tweeted out that they were playing Madden, and that's like that's what you want. That's what you want to see.
Nothing
you want to see,
that.
Exactly. No, it was great to see. That's why it was probably, despite being one of our locks for this week, that was probably one of the most fun games to watch.
Yeah, it was a blast. And here's my thing about Dan Campbell. I liked a lot of the decisions that he made with the like going for it and the onside kick. There was one that I thought was really bad though, where they lined up single back. Yeah. It was 3rd and 1, and like everyone knew it was going to be a pass. The Rams, I think, were in a bear front, and a bear front, for those who don't know, is like 3 interior defensive linemen, like almost you think of 3 interior defensive linemen, 2 edge rushes, so a bunch of guys on the line. They ran it right into the teeth of them. They got tackled for like a half a yard loss. Then they went and hurry up offense and ran the exact same thing into the exact same defense again. And to me, there just needed to be a little bit more creativity there. And I kind of feel like the Lions lost that game kind of without converting that. And they didn't really have a great 2 sets of plays there that gave them a high chance to convert it. So that's my thing about,
I will defend them a little bit. It's hard to be creative when you don't have great weapons.
Yeah.
If there was like any team to be creative with, if you made a ranking, which teams you'd want to be creative with, which offenses, is Detroit ranking dead last? Probably.
Yeah, it might be, but I don't know. I would have just the same thing twice into the bear front with.
Yeah.
I could have told you it was coming. If it was Madden, I would have guessed run up the middle, and I would have been right. Like, I just thought that. And here's my thing about Dan Campbell. I think he's a very good motivator. I think that motivator. I think that he is a great coach for kind of a struggling squad that needs to keep their spirits up every week. Bladen, you say that the Lions have a very bright future. And they might, but I do get a little concerned about Dan Campbell with this like grit and this like runs up the middle and like this emphasis on like toughness above all else. If he were to get a franchise quarterback, would he be able to implement all these creative things, or is he just a little bit too old school? So that's just one thing for the Lions for the future that I have a little bit of concern. I do love Dan Campbell for this team right now. And I love what he did today, but that was a little that's a thought that crossed my mind.
That's a very good point. Is sometimes you need a coach like this when your team is bad, but when you have the talent to be like a team like the Rams, you kind of need someone like a Sean McVay who can dial up creative things. Someone you need, and even like Bill Belichick is able to kind of drop creative plays at times. So I guess I can see where you're coming from. You don't always want to have this like old school guy just like maybe.
Well, and I'm not saying that's guaranteed bad or anything. It's just something that crossed my mind when I was watching that, and just Dan Campbell's philosophy in general, where it's like, is he really going to be on the? Is he going to be on the cutting edge and make like?
Well, I think it'll come down to, can he get a guy maybe who is on the cutting edge? And if you can do that, if it's like, okay, well, I'm not a very creative play caller, but let me go get somebody who is, I can do my thing. You got the team in the right place culture-wise, and then you got somebody else getting things right on the field.
Well, then you're running the risk. Then you're running the risk of, getting a coordinator who's really good, and then people realize they're really good, and all of a sudden you get a head coaching offer. Now you lose your star play caller.
You can't be concerned about that when you're making hiring decisions.
You don't want to get
someone he's going to be too good. We'll see. That's just, I'm not saying that's like a thing I really feel strongly about. That was just a thought that crossed my mind. That crossed my mind.
Last week I tweeted out that I'm more worried about the Browns than the Chiefs. No.
L plus ratio.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the Chiefs. I'm not going to lie. The defense is just bad, and it's not going to – is it going to get better? Hard to imagine.
The talent is really lacking. We're on week 7 now, and it's still –
And we've talked about this a trillion times, so I'm not going to do it a trillion more with the Mahomes contract coming up. And if you're having talent problems – with Mahomes not making the big-time bucks that he's going to, you're going to have a big problem later on down the line when he
Chiefs
is.
dynasty in the
mud.
But
I did not expect they lost by 24 and Derrick Henry didn't play good. It's just nonsensical. Yeah. And the Titans defense is not good.
Not good.
It's not good. And they scored 3 points. I know Mahomes got hurt part of the way through the game, but they didn't look good well before that.
Yeah, it was a bad outing by the Chiefs altogether.
And Kansas City is a team they were 3-3, but I still thought they were in a somewhat decent position because they were number 1 in, I said this on a recent TikTok, number 1 in yards per drive, number 1 in points per drive, and number 1 in drive success rate. So moving the ball up and down the field wasn't really a problem for them. They just had, some poor turnover luck, and the defense was really bad. But when you have an elite offense, you're usually a playoff caliber team, maybe not a Super Bowl caliber team. But today, it was just brutal. Mahomes played bad. Kelsey was getting locked up. Hill didn't really do much. It was just in all aspects against a really weak Titans defense. Zach Wilson carved up this Titans defense. And Mahomes couldn't do it. Just an off year for the Chiefs, and it hasn't felt right for the start.
I know you guys know who Jordan Palmer is on TikTok, Carson Palmer's brother. But he posted a video today, or a couple days ago, actually, talking about how he feels that Mahomes right now is very similar to how Mahomes looked at Texas Tech, where bad defense, he's running around a lot, and he doesn't really have this luxury of being able to just drop back and, hit his guy, timing stuff. It's not there. Right. So he feels like he's and he's not worried about, Mahomes getting any bad habits or anything. It's just he doesn't have the options that he had in the past. The protection's not there. So he's having to be a little bit more creative, and that's just not working out right now.
Here's something I'll say. It is not bad luck. The turnovers aren't bad luck. They're playing sloppy. Yeah. And I'm so sick of it's every narrative is they're just not getting the breaks. And I'm a big believer in getting the breaks and not getting the breaks. That is how football works. But they're playing sloppy. Like that Mahomes one where he's falling and he threw up. That was just a bad play. If Sam Darnold did that, you wouldn't be like, oh, it's bad luck. It's a bad play. And it doesn't mean that Patrick Mahomes is a bad quarterback, but they're playing sloppy. That's what's happening.
Fair enough. Yes.
I think when everything isn't quite as in sync, when everything isn't going perfectly around you sometimes, or when guys aren't making the plays and I'll say the line between an improviser and somebody who makes dumb mistakes is very, very, very small. It is not that big of a difference. And right now you're seeing that because Mahomes is, probably still the best quarterback in the league. And you can see things not work out for him if they just don't click right. But I think a lot of it's going to have to come down to Mahomes does need to play a little bit cleaner ball. He deserves a little bit of blame for how he's playing. The fumbles, that's not bad luck. Fumbling is not bad. That's on you, dude.
People always gave Lamar a ton of crap for fumbling the football.
And he deserves it. Quarterbacks can't always control interceptions because of drops or miscommunications. I kind of think unless they're bringing the ball backwards and maybe it's hit right away, fumbles are always kind of something you can control a little bit. Fumbles, I think most coaches will tell you, like, if you're a quarterback, you're going to get interceptions, like maybe don't have a horrible throw. Fumbles are something that should just not happen. You know, if you're a quarterback, you shouldn't be fumbling.
And that's not just for quarterbacks. That's any offensive position.
Yeah.
Coaches will tell you that fumbles are inexcusable at every position.
And don't get me wrong, like the defense does deserve, we wouldn't be talking about this if their defense was okay. I won't lie. But I think that the mix of Mahomes has so much credit. He's earned himself so much credit, and fairly so. And the offense still getting like a lot of yards per drive, or you see like they do the best job at getting first downs or whatever. And people have this, it's like, oh, he's kind of like a Brett Favre type deal where maybe he's throwing a lot of picks right now, but it doesn't mean that he isn't moving the offense well. Have kind of created a little bit too many excuses for some of the mistakes. Some of it is, I'm just saying, some of it is not bad luck. Some of it is bad plays.
Yeah. Overall, though, if you're putting points on the board, you should be winning games. And they didn't put points on the board today. This is not. Today, obviously, today they didn't put any points on the board. And today was kind of a day where, it was atypical for them. Like the Chiefs have been underwhelming all year, but they've still been top 5 in points per game.
They put up 30 plus points in every other game.
Right. So this is not like the same issues the Chiefs have had all year. This was not only the defensive issues, but also the offense couldn't get anything going. So,
and that makes you really nervous. I do think it's a one-off weird thing a little bit. I understand that the Chiefs offense will look better than this, but I also think that chalking up the injury, like I said, chalking up the interceptions and whatnot and the fumbles to just straight bad luck is a little.
No, that was.
They can both turn the ball over though and have a great offense, which is the case for them.
Yeah, I know, but the defense. I saw a graphic today that they were like ranked dead last in pretty much every defensive category. You just can't play that bad on defense and expect to win football games, and that's just sad. Speaking of bad defense, the Ravens had one of the worst.
One sec. One thing about the Chiefs game. Shout out Nick Bolton. He played a good game. Nick Bolton, the linebacker, has not been super great. He's a rookie. Has not been super great this year, but I thought he was really playing a strong game and a big reason why Derrick Henry didn't kill him. Everyone else did. Anyway, moving on. I just want to say he had a really good game. I noticed that as a positive. Before
Theo stole the smoothest intro I was ever going to perform on this entire podcast.
Sorry.
The Baltimore Ravens had one of the worst tackling performances I've seen in a while. Like outside of Anthony Walker, like it was bad. They couldn't tackle. I mean, those one play in particular, I think Jamar Chase broke like 5 tackles. And given Jamar Chase is a strong guy, but like, come on. I mean, Joe Mixon was making them look silly out there. And this is a defense that's supposed to be pretty good, right? Maybe not the top of the league, right? But come on. And Marlon Humphrey
they just held Herbert in the Charger. They just held Herbert in the Chargers to 6 points? And they got ran all over today. So definitely an uncharacteristic performance from them. And man, I mean, the Bengals, they've surprised me in a lot of ways this year. I mean, pretty much every position, unit has been really good for them. The secondary has been good. The front 7 is honestly the biggest surprise. Bigger than Burrow, bigger than Jamar Chase. The front 7 has really been strong and really gotten good pressure. They've been able to stop the run. The linebackers have not been I thought they had the worst linebacker group on paper going into the season, horrible. I thought Trey Hendrickson, I thought Cameron Jordan chased a lot of sacks into him on the Saints. And it's he's fine, but if he's your best pass rusher, are you really going to be a great pass rush? I was thinking no. They lost their best pass rusher in Carl Lawson. They maybe lost their best cornerback in William Jackson. Eli Apple might be a starter for them.
Matter.
And I'm looking at it now. Eli Apple's a starter. Usually you look at that and that's not good.
No, I was just looking at the talent. I like DJ Reader a little bit. I he was good, I guess. But he's just been a world.
They've got some guys. Von Bell's not a bad player. Jesse Bates is a baller.
Yeah, no, they've been, and Logan Wilson and DJ Reader and the edge rushers, they've been all, there may not be a super duper star on that defense right now, but they've all been playing solid football, and they've all, they're one of the better defensive teams in the league right now. That shocks me even more than Burrow in the offense.
They just do their job, man.
That's the biggest surprise, in my opinion.
They really just do their job. I think the Bengals were extremely disciplined when it came to Lamar Jackson. I always talk about how there's always 3 sets of eyes, 2 sets of eyes, whatever on Lamar Jackson. They just did a good job of just following, not even not biting on his fakes. And Lamar Jackson's great at carrying out fakes. They're not biting on his fakes. I don't know what they're doing, but whatever they're doing really, really well.
So let me ask you guys this. What's your Bengals prediction for the rest of the year then?
It's tough because really, I don't anticipate the passing offense to really slow down.
Right.
Burrow is Burrow, and Burrow for maybe I've focused too much on maybe the arm strength limitations, and I would still go say that he has a below average or average at best arm, but he is very calm, very cool, very collected all the time. He's accurate. And, whatever arm strength problems I perceive, they haven't been a problem, clearly. Jamar Chase is on pace for over 1,800 yards this year. His first season, he had 201 yards today, almost all on Marlon Humphrey's head. So it's okay.
he's just so good.
He's just a monster. He reminds me, my comp for him coming out of school was less polished AJ Brown, because AJ Brown's a pretty good route runner. And my perception of Chase was that he needed a little bit of work in that area. And he is just he's the non-polished part of that is completely out the window at this point. He's just, I've been on this rant about AJ Brown where it's the hands are there, after the catch is there, route running is there. What's the problem if everything is there?
That 4.3 speed that they were talking about, it's real. I didn't believe it. It's real.
You know who he looked like on that one slant? I'm not saying this is his comp. It's not. But that one slant play, I'm that kind of looked like vintage Steve Smith. He had a
he does
play. That one slant highlight he has.
Yeah. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. He's kind of a compact wide receiver, kind of a little ball of muscle, makes a lot of contested catches. I don't hate that comp for him. And, man, he's absolutely on fire right now. There's not a single aspect.
He plays a heck of a lot bigger than 6'1". I'll tell you that.
Yes, he does. Yeah, I think he's even short. I think he's 6 foot flat. And he plays like he's Des Bryant.
When you look at him on the field, I'm like, that guy's 6'4". He's 6'4", 6'5", and he's not.
No, he's nuts, and he's just a small part of. And the offensive line has been protecting better than I thought they would. Uzoma has been a really good tight end in this. Every unit, the skill positions, the offensive line is still maybe not super trustworthy, but I talk about the units, the front seven, secondary, offensive line, quarterback, skill positions, 5 of them. All 5 are quite good for the Bengals. So, and it's just a weak AFC right now. Who is good in the AFC? It's them and the Raiders on top of it. So, they could make a deep run. I think they're capable. I'm switching course, and I think they're capable of a deep run here because, who else? If they can destroy the Ravens, who is for sure?
The only other team that would stand in their way right now is Cleveland. Right? If they can beat am I wrong? If they can beat the Browns, right at that point, who else is there?
No, the Bills.
The Bills.
I guess the Bills.
Still, the Chargers. The Chargers. Still. The Titans in the AFC. There's some names. Yes, the Browns are good, and I think they'll be in the playoffs, but they're not the clear-cut number 1 in the AFC or anything. The Browns have to beat the Bengals, honestly. I think it's kind of the other way around. The Bengals don't have to watch out for the Browns. The Browns have to go through the Bengals.
Anyway, listen, man. I'm not going to sit here and hear my Browns be trashed upon. We will be A-OK. But you know who won't be A-OK? the Panthers.
I've made several TikToks basically saying Sam Darnold's going to suck. And every time I get some hate comments, oh, he's about to show everybody. And every time I'm like, you know what? Maybe he won't be that bad. And I take it down and I make another video. I'm like, look, yeah, this is the best supporting cast he's ever had. So if you think he's going to have a career year, that makes sense. But he still has these flaws, blah, 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 blah. Meet in the middle. No.
Yeah.
No. He's bad. He can't play. God bless him. Can't play. It is not the Jets screwed him over. None of that. He just doesn't have it. He does not have the consistency. He's talented. There's a reason why he went 3rd overall. He does not have the consistency for a 4th-year vet at all. The rest of the team is definitely terrible. The offensive line is no good at all. It's miserable. Even the receivers at this point. Robbie Anderson, I don't know what the hell has happened to him. I'm pretty sure Daniel Jones had more receiving yards than him today. And I'm gonna.
Daniel Jones made a hell of a catch. It was a hell of a catch. It was like one hand kind of behind him. I mean, it was like
Daniel Jones would be starting at receiver on this team.
He's an athlete. So. He's such a good athlete. It's hilarious. Like he runs 20 miles an hour. He's like 6'5". He's making catches behind the back of his head. Like, oh my god,
hey, man! Daniel Jones,
best catch in Giants history. Absolutely.
Anyway. I feel bad. You know, I want to see Darnold do well, and maybe there's more time for him to develop. But the Panthers have been so miserable the last 4 weeks. They can't just be bad. They have to win, and it's like, oh, maybe we will be good, and then they won't. You know what I mean? Like they get my hopes up.
Happened last year too. They went on like
I think the year before as well. This is the 3rd year running we've done this, and I fall for it every time, and they'll do it next year, and I'll fall for it again. But my hot take from this would be that Matt Rhule is very much on the hot seat, very, very much. I think Matt Rhule and Joe Brady are probably. You don't get to mess up twice at quarterback.
Yeah,
and it's just not working out, and. I don't know how many good things you can say about this team that are credited to Matt Rhule. And I'm sure Joe Brady is a very nice coordinator, but right now the offense is bad. And the offense was not that good last year. And at some point, the offense has to be good. And you're like, well, he has Sam Darnold, but if Brady didn't want Sam Darnold, we probably wouldn't have him. And if Brady didn't want Sam Darnold and we do have him, we've got bigger problems.
And it's not like there weren't. Yeah, good.
Oh, I think I don't want to overreact, but the Panthers might be close to blow it up time because I don't.
And it's not like it's not like there weren't a bunch of warning signs around Sam Darnold either. It's not like, oh well, who could have known like that Sam Darnold is bad? Like this isn't trading for like a Deshaun Watson type, and then he's bad, and like, oh, I can't believe it. No, this was like. This was viewed as kind of a risk, kind of an overpay at the time that it happened. Like the general consensus or the average person is like, man, that's kind of a lot for Sam Darnold, especially when it was revealed that they were kind of bidding against themselves. Like, what? So like it was kind of a bad process and you can excuse it if there's a good result, but it wasn't a good process or a good result so far. And
there's just too many mistakes, too much of you like what am I thinking of? The Pat Elflein, Cam Irving signings. I'll never get over those. Didn't make sense at the time. Sam Darnold trade. You know when I'm really going to break about it is when next year's draft in the second round when we don't have that pick. That's when it's going to really piss me off. We don't have any day 2 picks. It's going to suck. So I would say the Panthers' future is very, very, very much up in the air.
In the mud.
Nice today.
You know, I started compiling a list earlier today of quarterbacks that I would start Sam Darnold over. It's a very short list. Okay, it was quarterbacks I would consider starting Sam Darnold over. The first one was Big Ben. I would consider starting him over Big Ben. The second was Zach Wilson. The third was Teddy Bridgewater.
I would start.
I
would start him over Justin Fields at this point.
I would consider it.
And I think that's worth talking about. I am a Justin Fields guy. and the team is bad, but dude, it's not, he's taking 20 sacks. Some of that blame falls on the quarterback when you get to that point.
And we knew that was a problem Fields had of just like pocket presence.
I think for a guy who had that quote about it felt kind of slow for the NFL, it feels like the game needs to slow down a little bit for him.
Yeah, Fields put the ball on the ground 3 times today, threw 3 interceptions, and that's not good. That's 6 turnovers. I mean, it was really 5 turnovers, but put like 6 potential
anytime you
turnovers
fumble,
there.
Whether or not you get the ball back is kind of low.
Yeah. Now, I will say for Fields, there was some confusion. I think on the first pick, he said that in his headset, the coaches were saying that there was 12 men on the field, snap it, go, 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 free play. And then he was like, okay. And then he did it. And that wasn't the case. There weren't 12 men on the field. So like that happened. And then there was something about the right tackle. He was under the assumption that he was going to play. But then like right before the game, he had COVID. He was on the COVID list all of a sudden. So it's like there were like some weird stuff that was happening, but not enough to be like, oh, that's all okay. Like, oh, that's why. Like, and it is against the Browns too, where it was just a disaster.
I was about to say the 2 games where Justin Fields has looked awful, it's when he's played incredible pass rushes. And the Bears just they can't sustain that. They don't have a good enough offensive line to even begin to protect Justin Fields. And they know what his flaws are, and they just don't do anything to mitigate it.
And I think I gave him a pretty low poise grade when I was scouting him. I think coming out of OSU, I think when he would get kind of bounced around in the pocket, he'd lose his mind just a little bit, maybe make some silly decisions sometimes. When he first came in against the Bengals, there were times where he kind of ran right into Trey Hendrickson, and then the Browns game was just a disaster on every level. He did get it together a little bit for the Raiders game and the game before or after. I can't remember exactly the order, but there was like a 2-game stretch where I was like, okay, he's a little bit more calm now. But today was just a big pie in the face for Bears fans and for Justin Fields in general. There's still a lot that needs to be worked on with him because he just is lost out there. It's been a couple games this season where it's looked like that.
I think there's a big adjustment period from going and playing at Ohio State with a fantastic offensive line against Big Ten defenses that are kind of slow to then playing in the NFL against Tampa Bay. And I'm trying, maybe I'm like dumb. Tell me if I'm just totally blanking on somebody. When is the last time? What's the last good Big Ten quarterback? And then the pros.
Let's see.
I'm totally like, I know I'm forgetting someone. It's like last year or whatever. But like, what is it?
Tom Brady.
I don't know. Tom Brady. I can't really think of them because who are the good young quarterbacks in the league today? There's Kyler. He's not Big Ten. He's Pac-12. Mahomes is Pac-12. Herbert is not Big 12. Big 12. Yeah, Big 12. Yeah. Herbert is Pac-12. You could throw like Herbert, Burrow if you wanted to. SEC. He is good. I think he is good. I will come around to that. Maybe not like top 5 or anything, but Burrow is good. Who else is just Watson's from the ACC? Wilson was from Wisconsin. He was from Wisconsin, but he was drafted in 2012. He's getting into a decade in the league now. Like that was kind of a long time ago.
So Tom Brady and then Russell Wilson. So we went like a decade between the last
I'm
two.
Sure that there were good. I
get that's partially because just the number of overall good quarterbacks is pretty low. But yeah, I'm scrolling through this and I'm thinking it's been a long, long time.
Yeah. And really, who are the hyped up quarterbacks that have come out of the Big Ten? You know, like are there many Big Ten busts coming out? I mean, Haskins is one, but like, I just don't think the quarterback play in the Big Ten is really getting much draft attention in the first place. And I guess that's kind of its own issue. Like the Big Ten just doesn't really care about quarterback. They'd rather have a good edge rusher or something.
Wow, Big Ten quarterbacks really struggle that much? It's like, well, they don't bust really that much.
They don't get there in the first place. But you are right. The Big Ten is definitely like, there's a lot of bad quarterback, like Graham Mertz. You look at Wisconsin play. You look at Penn State play. You look at Iowa play. These are like the best Big Ten teams, and their quarterbacks.
No. The last good Big Ten quarterback was Trace McSorley, man.
Right,
dude. Illinois won against a top 10 Big Ten school, throwing for 38 yards.
Big Ten football, baby. But anyway, Fields is again, Dalton is better than him right now. He is. And that was I felt pretty comfortable saying that after the Cincinnati game. But yeah, that's just the way it is right now.
Now, I'm not writing him off because the game can slow down for him. And if it does, he is a very talented player. But gaining poise is a very hard thing to do.
Very difficult thing to achieve.
And it's very hard to be a good NFL quarterback. But that's probably what you need to see out of him. If you can see some improvement next year, you get a little bit better of an offensive line, maybe a little bit better play calling too. Make things
Matt Nagy has to go.
Yes.
I'm afraid.
Anyway, that's that. And also, shout out Tom Brady, I guess, for continuing to torch everything in his path this season. I have a Tom Brady MVP ticket that I got at like plus 800 odds, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't vote I don't know if I would vote from MVP over someone like Kyler. He might move ahead of Lamar after today. But like, man, I get that he has such great weapons around him, but like, so do most of the MVP candidates, like Kyler has a pretty damn good skill position group. Like every MVP quarterback has a pretty damn good skill position group. So knocking Brady too much for it is a little bit disingenuous in my opinion. I do it a little bit because it's just so ridiculously over the top good. But eventually, as like if Lamar puts up 17 points and it's the margins are so thin, where it's like eventually you got to start putting Brady up there. But Kyler is still my MVP vote as of right now.
Are we in agreement, Theo, that if Tom Brady wins MVP, we just
he'd have the greatest? Yeah, pretty much. I would I mean, I'm not the world's biggest Tom Brady hater like some make me out to be. I just think like, again, I'm not a big rings guy.
You made a video that said you're a Peyton Manning enjoyer.
Appreciate. I'm a Peyton Manning enjoyer. I'm a 5-time MVP, 7-time first team All Pro, best efficiency guy in the league in league history enjoyer.
Right.
It's not so much a knock on Brady as it is a ringing endorsement of what Peyton Manning.
And I agree with you.
But like, yes, for another MVP caliber season or another MVP season, it gets pretty tough to deny that resume in year.
It'll be.
He might be on HGH though. That's kind of how I've rationalized this. It's like I see the graphs of quarterbacks that like all go down in their 40s, and like Tom Brady, who's like the worst athlete ever, somehow being the one guy who's like going up. I'm a little bit. He's got a weird trainer. I'm like, I suspect you, Tom, but I cannot say
weird is one way to put his trainer, man.
I cannot prove it, and I will not. I won't like hold it against you, but I do. I'm like something's.
If it came out tomorrow that it's like he was on whatever, everyone would look back and they'd be like, "It was so obvious the whole time. We should have known the whole time."
I'm not saying that he is
not even a plus athlete. That makes sense.
The dude who is literally like a donut going at the NFL Combine.
Dude ran a 5'3" 40-yard dash.
Like the worst athlete at the quarterback position is somehow the longest lasting. I don't know. I'm not saying that he's doing it. I'm not saying that he's doing it. I'm just saying that it's a little weird how he's so good.
Theo's not saying he's doing it, but
he's so much better. We would not be surprised if like he's editing his genes or like his DNA is getting tweaked or I don't know what he's doing. It's crazy though.
Would you guys like to talk about the NBA?
I would.
Would you like to talk about the NBA, Matthew?
I would like to talk about the NBA. And in particular, I'd like to talk about the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, boy. 3-0?
Oh, boy.
They're very, very good.
Very good.
And they're winning all their games. This team is just They've just got it all figured out. The chemistry on this team is so awesome. Did you see this this quote today from Borrego? He said he tried to put LaMelo back in, and Ish Smith was playing really well. He was super hot, and he's like, just leave him in. I'll sit. He's playing so well. I know that every franchise player has to go out there and say, I'm staying here forever. And I know that you're not supposed to fall for it. But when LaMelo says it, I believe it, man. He means it. Nobody else has, but he means it. He's staying
And it
forever.
doesn't even matter because he will be there this season. And really, I mean, what are they lacking, really? I mean, their biggest problem was post defense, I would say. That's what I would label as like, can that be better? You know, maybe off the bench, can their bench unit, every team needs to improve. You can always improve your bench unit, but
I think the big takeaway, and I don't think this is an overreaction, the Hornets are good right now. They're really good right now. They have their flaws. Their interior defense is terrible. But if you put Miles Turner on this team, if there was a trade available for him, you would have to really consider how good they would be. Because they might be. It's not that hard to be the greatest Hornets team of all time. If they were to,
what is the greatest Hornets team of all time, Matthew?
Like 90 something with Larry Johnson. I think we went to 7 against the Bucs.
The greatest Hornets team of all time is me in 2K playing with Del Curry. That's the greatest Hornets team of all time.
LaMelo is so ridiculously good. He has just gotten so much better. Every time he's on the court, you're like, that's obviously our best player. Miles Bridges has taken a ridiculous step up. Just all around, he's a super plus athlete, perfect fit, great on defense. The shooting's gotten so much better. His handling has gotten so much better. Gordon Hayward's one of the most underrated players in the league. I don't think that's a stretch. He was the best player on a team that made the play-ins last year. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but it is. He's a fantastic closer. His ISO shot creation's ridiculous. And it's just the little things with them. Kelly Oubre, a little hot and cold, but as a backup wing, it's not bad. Even Ish Smith is a pickup I really liked, and he was playing great today. There's so much good to say about this team. I know they're only 3-0, but they're young, Oubre, and they're really good right now.
The Kelly Oubre experience is a fun one. As a Suns fan, you talk about chemistry and you talk about culture. He is really good for it, I believe. The Suns have the Valley is on their midcourt right now. Mm-hmm. The Valley. That's a new thing. Valley Boys. I legitimately think Oubre deserves a lot of credit for the whole branding and just kind of the energy and around the Suns, even now. I really think that culture was lame before he came here. And now it's got like a certain kind of swagger that I think he really pushed onto the Suns because he's just so fucking cool. He's just such a cool dude.
Look good, feel good, play good. That kind of stuff matters.
He does. He looks good. He feels good, and he doesn't always play good, but he always brings a lot of energy.
But I'm saying, as a unit, if you look good, feel good, play good, that's like, you want to have nice uniforms. Like stuff like that. Yeah. You want to look good when you play.
Yes, Oubre is a little bit makes some dumb plays sometimes where it's like, dude, you do not have to drive to the basket. Dude, you should have passed out instead of shooting a 3. There's definitely moments like that for Oubre. But I do want to shout out Oubre for his influence on a locker room and kind of a culture. I think he does a really good job.
Now here's the real question about look good, feel good, play good. Do you think that teams with awful jerseys would be better if they got good jerseys?
What's a team with a horrible jersey? I was going to say,
what's a team with just horrible uniforms?
Well, the Cincinnati's away uniforms that they were playing in this game were not good, man. I'm sorry. I watched it. I was like, these are not good uniforms.
Oh, you see?
They only the away ones, the white ones, they're a little bit busy. Like white and gray is not great. A little bit busy, and they only won by 7.
They struggled against Navy. Yeah.
If they were wearing the homes, which are a little bit nicer, I think they would have won by more.
No, we'll go back to NBA here in a second. But this is not a Cincinnati-focused rant. But it is one that does involve Cincinnati. Okay. There are not that many teams with good resumes. Everyone's sitting here telling me that Cincinnati doesn't have the resume to be the number 2 team. Right? We're halfway through the season. You know who has a good resume right now? Like straight up just Georgia. No other team. I'm serious.
You're not wrong.
What other team has I've gotten told today, Notre Dame's not that good of a win, and they played some bad teams close. Okay, what team has a better, is undefeated, has a better win than Notre Dame, and hasn't played bad teams close? Not Oklahoma. They're only playing bad teams close, and I'm pretty sure they don't have a ranked win right now. Ohio State played one ranked team, lost to them, 0 ranked wins. Alabama actually lost to an unranked team. They didn't play them close. They lost to them. Go back through every team. Dude, Oregon beat Ohio State and then went and lost to Stanford. That's not even like a good unranked.
Who else is undefeated?
So, like Coastal Carolina or
is Wake Forest?
Yeah, Coastal Carolina lost. Yeah. Wake Forest is undefeated. They let
Coastal
up 56
Carolina lost
points
to Appalachian
Army
State.
Yes, you are right, Matt, that Cincy should be in if the playoffs started right now. I don't know who is telling you these things, but I would urge you to ignore them because you are right and they are wrong.
Wasn't Cincinnati based. My point is that the expectation for how good a resume is going to be for a team midway through the season is ridiculous. You could put any team at 2 right now. Put any team in the top 10 and you're going to sit there and be like, why are they a top 10 team? Because in college football, every team's a little fraudulent.
Same with the NFL right now. I feel like both. There's like not really a great team in the NFL or college football right now. Like the Raiders are 5-2, the Bengals are 5-2. Like, damn. I guess maybe the Bucs,
NFL is
Packers,
the best league in sports for parity. I swear on that.
It is good, but like, yeah, it's just kind of a weird year where it's like, whoa, I did not expect to see the Bengals and the Raiders on top of the NFL. And Cincinnati, I guess Cincinnati was always supposed to be good, but like just a weird year for both teams.
It's kind of a shame. Wake Forest, it's kind of a shame that Clemson's unranked, because if they were able to like beat a ranked Clemson, or like even if they weren't like top 5, but like,
they might get their well, I don't know.
It's not completely impossible that they make the college football playoffs. They were
they're undefeated. They play Duke, UNC, what is that? NC State, Clemson, and then Boston College.
They play
Boston
nobody.
College is tough.
Their problem is that leaving an undefeated Power 5 team out of the playoffs is completely unheard of. It's never even been considered. You couldn't even imagine a scenario where that happened before this year, and then it might happen. But if Georgia beats Bama in the SEC championship game and Oklahoma drops a game, who is the 4th team in that scenario?
Because it's Georgia,
maybe Cincy, maybe Georgia,
Ohio State,
Michigan. Maybe.
But if the winner of the Big, they need to win the Big Ten to get in. I did think that
just the winner of the Big
Michigan
10
won out and only lost. No, but that's one of the 3 teams.
Yeah,
winner of the Big Ten, Cincinnati, Georgia, who's the 4th team?
Oh,
Wake Forest.
Yeah, it could be Wake Forest. Yeah, it could be.
I mean, you could tell me Oregon, but I'm not even confident that Oregon's going to win out, and they have one ranked win, but a terrible loss. And I don't think that a ranked win, even if it's a really good one, makes up for a bad loss. I don't know if we're at that point. Maybe it does, but they still need to win out, and it's no guarantee that they do.
And Wake Forest undefeated.
Maybe a one-loss Big 12 team. Maybe they'd still let in Oklahoma if they ended up blowing a game. And it's no guarantee that they do that, but
Notre Dame, 5-1 Notre Dame with only one loss to a good Cincinnati team. Maybe they're once again fraudulent. Notre Dame
we are now in no man's land as far as college football playoff predictions. We're talking about Wake Forest and Notre Dame,
and it's awesome. This is the best. And Wake Forest, they're not Wake Forest. Notre Dame.
Pitt,
looking at their
maybe
schedule. Pitt. Does Pitt have a loss?
They have one, and I cannot.
If they have a loss and they don't have a tough schedule, that's going to be pretty hard to overcome, I
guess. But if it gets crazy, let's get nuts. I can't remember who they lost to, but it is something. There is definitely the potential for some just a random ass 4th team to be in here. But
just a battle for who gets blown out by Georgia.
We're kind of on a sidebar. We're on a little side mission here from the NBA. I want to talk a little bit about Michigan State's another good one. But I want to talk a little bit about Jalen Green for the Rockets and just kind of their young core in general. Again, this was a team that I liked a lot. And did Jalen Green go 8 for 10 from 3 tonight or something ridiculous like that. It was
all I know is he had 30.
You watch that guy play for 10 minutes and you're like, he's going to be awesome. It's just that simple. I think it's so important how a player is able to move with and without the ball, and he just moves crazy. He's just you watch him, you're like, how does he do that all the time? So I'm super high on him. The other thing is that I recently joined a dynasty basketball league.
Oh boy!
So
every time we talk about a basketball player too,
he's on. So the other big thing about Jalen Green is he's on my fantasy team.
It's football and basketball. Oh no, and college football, because you're going to be like, oh, we draft them before they're even in the NFL now. So we're not even going to be able to talk about any player in any league. I'm going to start talking about hockey and baseball so I can get away from.
I'll get whatever fantasy team I need to get. But no, Jalen Green, I have a hard, and he's not hitting everything super consistently all the time. You know, he's gonna have his off games. He is a rookie, but some of the stuff that I can't remember the last time that a guy this young just came into the league immediately going and making these high-level shot creation moves right off the bat. It's crazy to watch. I don't know what would have to happen for him not to turn out. It seems so good for him. I'm so high on him.
And yeah, again, I watched his G League highlights. Not exactly the intense scouting that I do for maybe some other leagues, but like just watching him in those, it's like, okay, this dude has a chance to step into the NBA and maybe be one of the top 10 athletes in it just right away. Just the way he moves is so fast, lightning quick. And I see him hitting step back jumpers from way beyond the 3-point line, you know, fading away mid range, crazy dunks, like flipping around in midair and like 180ing it on the other side of the hoop. It's like, oh my God. And he's doing it in the G League, which is like, I think the G League is a little bit better than college basketball on a night-to-night basis. I think that it maybe sharpens you a little bit more. I think the players there are a little bit better than college football, you could argue, or college basketball. So it was just like to see him do that against NBA, like really low-tier NBA talent, but still NBA talent. It was like what is he just going to like get way less explosive? Is he just going to like lose that depth perception that causes his shot to fall all the time? Like what's the problem here? Because it's like he's good at every single aspect.
You talk about Jalen Green, Theo, is the way that I talked about
De'Aaron Fox.
Just like an insane
and you
athlete,
were right,
man.
Yeah,
and that's not a bad way to look at it. But Jalen Green, I'm very high on. I like the Rockets' future a lot.
Yeah, Wood too. He's had some, good nights in a row here, and was good last year. The Pistons kind of let him walk for not much, kind of a miscalculation on their end. But yeah, really good young core in Houston, and I'm excited to watch them.
I am. I guess I don't want to be like I'm not. Houston still needs a lot of guys to develop, and you can look at them now and say all these guys have potential. Because like even with Jalen Green, I said that I can't see how he doesn't work out. How he doesn't work out is if he never gets more consistent at doing this type of stuff. That's how he would not work out. And that's true for all these guys. And it's keep in mind, not all of the project players, not all of the guys are going to reach their potential. So I don't get too ahead of yourself with them, but you could say that about any young team. I really do like a lot of the guys that they have.
Yeah, and their loss, they had a pretty big loss to Minnesota. And Minnesota's a team that I kind of always want to pick to be good because on paper, there's like Cat, and he's a really good center, and like D'Lo and Anthony Edwards. But like they were still horrible last year, and they're a Minnesota sports team. And in my experience, those always fuck up.
Sports teams.
So don't bet on them. But I get excited about the Timberwolves again. I'm getting kind of excited. Like, yo, Anthony Edwards is not looking. He's looking better than he was even last year. And Cat and D'Lo only played how many healthy games together last year, and now they're all playing together. And they fired their coach, who only got the job because of the name of his dad, and he was not a very good coach. And it's all looking okay right now. So the Timberwolves are a team.
Healthy.
They got to stay healthy, but if they do, I think that they are a playoff team again. I think that they are a playoff team, which is stupid because I should never say it, but
big one we got to talk about. Los Angeles Lakers.
I was just about to say the Lakers are 0-2, and they're kind of fighting for their lives against
What
Memphis.
are they going to do? Like, their problems are not like fixable issues with their current team. I feel like it's like, where do you get the solutions?
Well, it's never, the fit is not going to be perfect, but I don't blame them for doing what they've done. I don't think Russell Westbrook's as bad as people are making him out to be, because he never is. Usually the case with Russell, he's never as bad as people are making him out to be, and he's never quite as good as some people make him out to be at times. The first step is getting DeAndre Jordan off the team. I don't get it. What's the point?
That bad, huh?
And I know we want to blame the spacing problem on Westbrook, and he deserves some of the blame. But if you've got a spacing problem, it doesn't start with Westbrook. It starts with DeAndre Jordan and even guys like Dwight Howard. And I want to see more Anthony Davis at the 5, that type of stuff. And they've got time. They've got more guys than they can actually fit in the rotation, and they will narrow it down. And the shooting can be good, and the spacing will be better, and Westbrook will start fitting in better. But if I told you that Westbrook would end up working out on the Lakers, you would say, okay, but there's going to be some growing pains. And everyone would have agreed about that. But now that we're actually going through the growing pains, it's not so fun anymore, because we don't know whether or not they're actually going to figure it out. It might not be growing pains, and this is just how it is forever. But I think it's going to take some time. He'll adjust. He'll figure out a little bit more what to do off ball. Things will open up if they, once they start to figure out, hey, we probably can't play DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard.
Matt just
I like Dwight Howard, but
casually gave like life advice. If I told you it was going to work out, you'd say, yeah, but there's going to be growing pains. Now that we're going through the growing pains, not so fun anymore.
Well, I mean, and Russell Westbrook is already a player who got too much hate when he does bad. Going to the Lakers does not help that.
No,
that's like the worst possible place you could be if you're a player who gets hated too much.
I feel like go ahead, yeah.
No, go for it.
I feel like a good Lakers team looks a little bit like the last couple minutes of the Suns game where they rallied to make it pretty close. They kind of just played with a lot of intensity, and even though no one could really shoot, Westbrook and LeBron and AD, when they're really playing with all of their heart and trying to get to the basket, they're going to put some points on the board. And that kind of intensity is what they need. But I mean, it's just exhausting to play like that for 82 games, And it's like the first game against the Warriors, they were relying so heavily on how many jump shots did LeBron take? Relying on jump shots like that is just not the way to do an offense. And it's what else do they do sometimes? Because it's hard to get the paint because of their spacing, and it's they don't really have a 3-point shooter. It's just everything is so hard. Everything is so hard.
LeBron has 9 3-point attempts tonight.
Right.
The reason why I will say the reason why I'm not too worried about the Lakers is because I actually do think they have the tools on the roster to not be a bad shooting team. I know you think Melo is washed, and I understand that opinion because I definitely held it. He's not. He can still play. Not great on defense, but he can still shoot. He's very much a plus shooter. And yeah, it's a problem when you're rolling him out there with Enes Kanter defensively. Anthony Davis, you can get away with it a little bit more. Tonight, he's got 24 points on 13 shots. He's plus 23.
Fair enough.
I'm looking at, I know plus minuses aren't everything.
Lie. I didn't even know Enes Kanter was still in the league.
He's there. The Turkish government hasn't taken him out yet.
DeAndre Jordan has 14 minutes tonight. Lakers are up 5 right now, and he is minus 15. That is that's pretty nuts. That's a pretty clear sign.
He doesn't do any. He's not even good at post defense anymore. He doesn't do anything. I don't know why people think he's still an NBA player. Why do
I know you don't want to. I don't want to say that solution really is just as simple as play more shooters, more minutes, figure out the rotations. But they will figure out the rotations. Westbrook will probably find a better role if there's more spacing off ball, or his problems off ball won't be as bad. It's playing as a third star is something entirely new to him. He's never done anything like it. So I'm not surprised at all that he's probably going to be a little inefficient. And this is probably going to last a little bit longer than people are comfortable with too. But I trust Malik Monk off the bench. I like Carmelo Anthony. I think Kendrick Nunn's going to be big when he comes back.
True.
So
Nunn will be a big piece.
It's not Avery Bradley he had a nice moment there a couple games ago when they put him in.
He did have 0 stats on like 20 minutes against the Suns, I think.
That is true.
And he currently has 2 minutes this game. So
and that's they play him 20 minutes last game, then he gets 2 minutes, and it's all over the place. It's
LeBron
that guy
no.
just joined the team. The chemistry isn't 100% there yet. I think they'll figure it out. There'll always be players in the buyout market. There'll always be players in the trade market. So I think they're
winning
okay
tonight, I guess. So.
And they are. I won't call it yet. They're up 3 right now with like a minute.
Who are they playing?
Memphis. They're a good team.
Okay, Memphis is a playoff team, so
they're a good team.
Yeah.
So give the Lakers some time. Talent is the most important thing when it comes to winning a championship, and they probably have the most talent right now. There's a lot of things to be worried about with them, but I'll take the concerns for the players they've got right now.
All right. I think it should be a while until we talk about them again, because like the nightly Lakers
it'll be the same thing every single time.
It'll be the same thing. We'll let's revisit in like a month with the Lakers and see where
we'll revisit in a month. For now, every time Russell Westbrook has more shots than points, Twitter's going to be hell. And then every time that he gets a triple-double, Twitter's going to be hell, but the exact opposite way. And none of it means anything. We'll see how they look after like 60 games.
Yes.
You know who's great though?
John
Morant.
Oh, John Morant is pretty good.
Yeah,
dude, it's 36 right now.
You know, you had Memphis. Sheesh. Theo, you had Memphis as a 6 seed.
I did,
and I question that take a little bit, but I really like it. I think it's a great take.
Thank you.
They're a plus. They're very much a plus defensive team. They got better defensively. That's a big deal. Yeah. And if you get Morant taking that next step, which I mean, I know we're only through a few games, but
he's got to be averaging like 32 a game through 3 games.
He's just ridiculous. And you've got that's another team where the chemistry is very good. They seem to have a culture there that's working for them.
They're kind of like the Lions of the NBA. If the Lions were good, they're kind of the team that'll bite your kneecaps off, like on defense.
The Lions were good,
and that's a good thing to be.
Grit and grind, baby. Grit and grind. They need to bring Zebo in. They need to do it. I don't know. He can be used Adonis Haslam or something. Sign Zebo to a contract. Let him just sit there, get in a fight if he needs to.
So I'm agreeing with you. I'm very high on them as well. I like
Grizzlies
them.
gang.
I'm a fan. Yes.
Matt,
plus John
do you have
Morant,
anything
Carolina,
else?
Do I have anything
for the
else?
NBA? Is there anything else you want to hit on?
Warriors are really good. Warriors are way better. The role players are so much better. Stephen Curry isn't getting quadruple teamed every possession.
That is what you want to see.
So is the San Francisco game over?
Yes. Colts won.
Yes.
God.
And so
Wentz is not getting 40
no,
more yards. I could have gone to
team.
the 2-5. Pound your chest, Bladen. 2-5.
I beat the only undefeated team in our fantasy league. Beat the only undefeated team
after he traded away Christian McCaffrey for Darrell Williams.
Oh,
so here's my thing.
Don't be like that.
I had a really, really bad fantasy week. I had my number. I've got Chris Carson IR, James Robinson bye week, Dak Prescott bye week. I started Latavius Murray. Dude didn't even play, and you would think it's wraps. Oh, and Logan Thomas IR. Literally, my entire bench put up 0 points. That's how many injuries I have right now. Mm-hmm. So you'd think it's over for Matthew. But I persevere. I fight. And I'm up 13 points. And Super Kurt has just Tyler Lockett left to play. I am projected to win. I picked up Matt Ryan to start. My running backs combined for 5.7 points. My team
currently projecting a Tyler Lockett masterclass.
I had to my bench. I couldn't start James Conner because I'm starting Kamara and Josh Jacobs. But outside of that, it was pretty rough. I had Bateman, who had a good game. Shout out Rashad Bateman. Really nice kind of, I guess it wasn't his debut. Last week was his debut.
Yeah.
But 80-yard game from him.
It was finally
Rashad But I had to start Dalton Schultz. And here's where I'm mad at Bladen. I tried to negotiate. I think it was live on air, a trade last episode where I was like trying to trade him Corey Davis for Gronk because I just needed a tight end this week and I'm willing to part with one of my like bench wide receivers. And he was like, what a fleece. You're trying to fleece me. And it would literally have been a horrible deal for me. And like at the time, it was just like a fair deal. And he's starting Josh Gordon for some reason that I just cannot
got him 0 points, but he won anyway. And his kicker's on a bye.
Let's go over my team real quick. Nyheim Hines, 1.7 points. Josh Gordon, 0 catches on 1 target. Greg Zuerlein,
why do you have him in Tyrell Williams?
On a bye. Tyrell Williams, IR. Michael Gallup, IR. Gronk, out. Amari Cooper and Diggs on buys, and I still won.
You got to win the ugly ones. AJ Brown had a big game. Shout out AJ Brown. Love that guy.
Shout out AJ Brown. Shout out Myles Gaskin. I got to get on Myles Gaskin. That's who deserves love.
I got to get on. Why did you drop Gesicki, dude? That was so random.
That was a silly decision by me because he got 0 the first week, and then I think he got hurt or something, and the Miami offense looked so bad. And they had a lot of other weapons. They had Fuller coming back because he got 0? Yeah, and he only played 39% of snaps. And then I'm like, okay, is this really going to get any better when Fuller is coming back and Waddle and like there are all these guys coming back and I'm like there's not even going to be that many touchdowns to go around because Tua is a bad quarterback. So I dropped Gesicki and I picked up Dalton Schultz, and Dalton Schultz looked like kind of a Dax security blanket, which I felt a little bit better about. And Dalton Schultz has dropped 10 points 4 straight weeks. So it's not like it was the worst move in the world. But
as far as I'm concerned, Theo, that's the best decision you've ever made. Because when Gronk went down,
but
I was able to pick up Gesicki, no problem.
You will, yes, but yes, that was kind of a silly move for me. I should have kept him and traded him or something. But I did get Dalton Schultz, who is also a good tight end, fantasy tight end so far.
How are you dealing with the Cincinnati hate that I know you're getting right now?
I am getting crushed. I thought it was pretty funny. I said the Bengals comment, they tweeted, "Can I get a who day?" And then I responded who day with the like in all caps with the like yelling emoji, and like I thought that was just kind of a funny because the replies are like, not you, you do not get who day,
dude. It would be so funny if you just pretended you were on the Bengals bandwagon the whole time.
Did you hear me call them like I said they could make a deep run?
No, but you have to be like I was with them the whole time. What are you guys?
I was with
your lifelong Bears fan persona on Twitter. You got to be lifelong Bengals fan.
I was on them I was kidding, guys. I was just kidding.
It was satire, and you guys didn't get it. That's really embarrassing.
That is really rough.
Isn't it like the running joke that Theo has like unintentional humor? Yes. So like that was just another use of Theo's unintentional humor. It's just you guys didn't get it that time.
I just didn't get it that time. I was just kidding. Yeah, no, they were mad. I posted Jamar Chase is really good, and like everyone is like, why aren't you giving Joe Burrow credit in this video? Because I showed this like catch where I thought maybe it could have been a Joe Burrow underthrow or maybe it was back shoulder. I like couldn't quite tell because it looked to me like Burrow stacked up Marlon Humphrey, and if you put it out in front of him, that would have been maybe the move, but instead he had to come back for it. So I'm like, I'm not sure if that's an underthrow. I'm not sure if it's back shoulder. I said, here's what I said. You guys be the judge. You guys be the judge because my opinion, everyone will yell at me. So then people were like, don't like the Joe Burrow district. So I can't even say anything about the Bengals. I'm literally shouting out Jamar Chase for maybe being the best wide receiver in football so far this year. And they're still mad at me about not giving Burrow his credit. So
don't worry. Saints fans are mad at me for a long time. Don't worry. It gets better.
Not like this. Not like this.
Not like this. Well,
not like this.
Hopefully it does get better for you, Theo. But I think that kind of wraps things up for us. As always, tons and tons of content coming your way on all platforms. We will be back Friday with our Halloween-themed episode. So make sure, like I mentioned earlier, that you call in with things that you are scared of for your favorite team. and we will either ease or affirm your fears. Don't miss out on all the great content coming your way on all platforms. As always, from Corn Boy, Gambling Addiction /Berry /Nut Boy, and Lemon Boy, here is the Stay Hot shout-outs, and we'll catch you guys on the flippity flop.
I'm Will from Queens, New York. Fuck the Jets.
So this is Jack from Washington, D.C., and holy fucking shit, I cannot do this anymore with the fucking Washington football team. I mean, I saw some stats of the Packers for 14 of 14 this season when teams got in the red zone, and here we are 0 for fucking 3. Are you kidding me? I mean, just all you gotta do is just get 5 more yards. I mean, Taylor Heineke, Gibson, McLaurin, someone got to get it done. Oh my God, I can't do this anymore. Goodbye.
Hi, I'm Peter from Virginia, and my rant is I pick the Panthers as my favorite football team. Yeah, that's it. Love you guys.
I am so goddamn tired of watching this sorry-ass Panthers offense. Sam Darnold is so ass. PJ Walker might be better. I'm literally convinced that PJ Walker might be better. Like, holy shit, I'm so tired of it, bro.
Yo, what's up? It's Michael from North Carolina. I just want to read you my fantasy bench this week. Eckler, bye. Nick Chubb, out. Deontay Johnson, bye. Kareem Hunt, out. Michael Thomas, out. Tyler Bass, out. Devontae Parker, out. Dawson Knox, bye. George Kittle, IR. Down horrendous this week.
What's up, Stay Hot? I'm Creed. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And unfortunately, I'm a Chiefs fan. I don't even know what else to say about it, except that it is just horrible, and I don't think there's no coming back, at least for this season. I thought we might come back from it, but the season's lost.